Well, they say it's a land of spies, of vodka, and of bitter winters. At least that's how the stereotype goes. But since the Cold War, Russia has changed. Today, it's the biggest country in the world, spanning 9 time zones. And things here are changing fast. So, when the Soviet Empire collapsed in 1991, well, capitalism ran wild in Russia. And a few of the 140 million Russians suddenly went from poor to rich. This is an incredible luxury car with 750,000 crystals encrusted in the car. And it's really a spectacular view. Okay, so get ready for a crazy ride across Russia. In Moscow, the symbols of the past are a reminder of a complicated history. But today's life in this modern metropolis bears little resemblance to the Soviet capital of 20 years ago. Gas shortages, bread lines, and Communist Party leaders have made way to traffic jams, shopping malls, and the mega-rich. In fact, this city has the world's second largest number of billionaires, and most of them made their money in the last 20 years. So I've abandoned my blinged out car from last night to come here and meet a guy that has created a unique agency in Moscow, an agency that caters to the city's richest people. Sergey is the founder of an event planning company that specializes in providing the unusual to the newly elite. How are the Russian rich different from the other rich on the planet? What defines them?
Well, what really defines them is that they have been rich for a short period of time. These people didn't grow up in rich families where money was always a part of their daily lives. You know, not that long ago, these same people were taking the metro and watching football games on TV. And all of a sudden, they're loaded, super rich. 20 years ago, no one in Russia could have imagined that one day they'd be skiing down the trendiest slopes of France in the best tourist complexes around. And now, if they want, they can just buy the entire complex. It's not a problem. The rich Russians today want to live life to its fullest. They want to enjoy themselves.
But when you can buy anything, it's only the truly extreme experience that may do the trick. Sergey and his team go to great lengths to make this happen.
Today's Russian millionaire really lives in an unusual environment. It's very secluded, protected, and they're now looking for new things to do, new experiences. For example, some businesswomen came to see me and wanted to be strippers for a night or two. Strippers in real strip clubs, and these are very wealthy women. I even had some that wanted to be prostitutes for a night, just for the thrill of it. A few years ago, such behavior or desires would have been unimaginable for Russian women. But now it's a way of life. A night of prostitution may fill the void for some, but for others, hitting rock bottom is the only way to feel alive. As Sergey is about to show me, his clients are willing to pay $3,000 for the pleasure of a rough day on the streets of Moscow. Here, this is your tuxedo.
Okay, so it's like big hole.
This is the outfit for one of our most popular games, for the rich.
This needs to be cleaned up.
No, on the contrary. We need to make it dirtier.
So I have to change into this?
Yeah, first you change and then we'll work on your face.
Okay. So, see you later. His wealthy clients are given a total make-under to show the wear and tear of living hard.
Full experience.
They are dropped into the streets of Moscow with no money, no ID, and only a mobile phone to be used for emergencies. So basically after this we're going to go out on the street, obviously, and the game basically is to see who will earn the most money panhandling between me and Sergei, so we'll have to see who wins the game.
Right. Now we need to give our disguises their final touch. You know, make sure it looks authentic. Here's my car. Now you just rub yourself like this to catch all the dirt. And don't do it where I did it. You get your own filth.
Rub myself along the car. I have to put some dirt on my shoes. Expensive shoes?
Yes.
And now we're ready, yeah? Yes. Okay. Здравствуйте, пожалуйста, Петрубль, пожалуйста. Здравствуйте, Петрубль, пожалуйста, а? Нет? Девушка, пожалуйста, Петрубль. Спасибо, Спасибо. Your first catch, huh? Good, good. Bon, I have to win some money here. For Sergei's clients, this may be a game of pretend. But homelessness in Moscow is a very real problem. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, the gap between rich and poor has grown exponentially. He just got 100 rubles. That's good. And today in Moscow, some 10,000 people live on the streets and at least 200 freeze to death every year in the brutal winters. It's a very strange sensation and very uncomfortable, I must say. Петрубль, пожалуйста. Петрубль, пожалуйста. How much do we have?
Yes.
Okay.
Итак.
So, do you feel, do your clients who are millionaires, do they feel bad to take money from people who don't have a lot?
Богатым людям дают деньги.
Well, you know, when my rich clients receive money when they beg for it, you know, from people that are much, much less wealthy than they are, in their millionaire brains they feel that something is wrong, because they would never be this generous. Most of them say that they believe people would be much stingier, and that in the end normal people are quite good people. And you know, it's important for these millionaires to think about things like that. It's good for them.
I think I'm not rich enough, I'm not enough of a millionaire to really understand or appreciate this game here in Moscow, but thank you for showing me.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Let's put this back. Okay, now we have to go take off the makeup, huh? Okay, let's go. Moscow's new money may be hidden behind exclusive doors, but one thing that's always been on display is the Russian military. Parades of martial hardware were proof of Soviet power, but with the end of the Cold War, having the best in the cutting-edge weaponry was no longer a top priority. In fact, the once mighty force has become a little rusty. Today, things are changing. A massive rearmament program is now underway. The aim is to re-equip the armed forces with the newest in weaponry and technology. And at this factory, they are making some of the most inventive products on the market, inflatable weapons. Victor is a director at reup, a company contracted by the government to literally help blow up the military. So I don't understand. I mean, I thought this was like a weapons plant. I only see people sewing and stuff. Where are the guns?
Well, yes, this is a sewing shop. Here we make balloons, toys for children, things for advertising. At the same time, we're building tanks for the Russian Ministry of Defense. You see on this table, they're working on a merry-go-round for children. At the same time, they're making a tank.
This here is a tank, yeah?
Да, это танк.
Oh. Oh.
It's the wheel of the tank.
The wheel of the tank. It's hard to imagine that
This thing is a tank.
Well, it is a tank, and it's almost finished.
Okay, so I have to see what it really looks like. Let's go.
Rusbal's weapons may be filled with air, but they're definitely not for children.
Tank?
Yes, it's a T-80 tank.
The inflatables will be used as decoys to mislead their enemies.
I've never transported a tank this easily in my life.
In fact, there's already an order in. The details are top secret.
This is quite unique for the military to be able to transport so fast.
Yes.
How much does it weigh?
90 kilos.
Kilogram.
90 kilos. So two soldiers can take it and move it around fast, no?
The ease of transport is only matched by how quickly the weapons can be deployed.
It's a little bit like camping.
A bit, yes.
It only takes 3 minutes to blow up a full-size tank.
Man, if I had this when I was a child, I would have loved it.
At about $6,000 a pop, these balloons are a bit too expensive to be toys, but they are 100 times cheaper than the real thing.
So, what's the distance when you know it's a real one? When you think it's a real one?
From about 300 meters, you cannot tell it's a fake.
The army buys this to make believe that they have a bigger force or that the force is elsewhere.
Да, совершенно верно. Это чтобы обмануть
We use them to
разведку,
mislead enemies.
и разведка будет
We make the
думать,
enemy
ага,
think
там
that forces have deployed in one place, ready for defense, when in fact our people are on their way to another position.
уходить куда-то в другое место.
Rusbal's line of make-believe machines now include tanks, jets, and even this S-300 rocket launcher.
But now today you have military drones with thermal, chemical detection and so on and so forth.
На радарах
Well,
мы
actually,
тоже
it's a
видим,
whole
как
system.
настоящий
It will
металлический
show up on radars as real, whether it's through a metal or thermal detector, because the tanks are heated, just where the engine and the gas tank are supposed to be. And also because the fabric is treated in a way that fools infrared or night vision detectors into thinking it's metal. It's a very sophisticated, multi-layered process, and it works.
It's like Superman. You're the first military contractor that doesn't have any deaths on your conscience, yes?
Absolutely right.
So the only real problem with this new weapons defense system is that it only works for conventional war. Like if tomorrow America might be invading Russia. Now the real threat that this country faces, like many threats today, it's a terrorist one. So I'm here in a unique school in all of Russia. It's a school where they teach only young ladies like these to become not only proper women, but also to fight terrorism.
Welcome to Moscow's Girl Cadet School number 9. An elite military boarding academy where 300 girls starting at age 11 are not only taught to read and write, but also how to shoot to kill. This academy was founded in 2005, a year after the Beslan school siege, a terrorist attack that took the lives of 334 people, mostly children. Today, Alexei, a former major in the army, has a new mission, teaching these girls how to protect themselves and their country against terrorism.
So the important thing is to make sure the barrel is aligned with it. And then you just need to snap in the clip. It feels exactly the same as a real gun.
Okay, cool.
Look, this is a Kalashnikov. It's our best weapon. And of course the girls train with this also.
This Makarov is easy. This looks more complicated.
It's easy to take apart too. First you unlock the firing pin. Then you pull out the deadbolt and it's done. Applause.
Is this also part of the training? Because after the Beslan massacre, so many kids were killed. Is this a way to defend them?
Of course, the memory of the Beslan massacre is still very much alive. All the girls here know how important that was. And everyone remembers how many children died there too. This is why our training is so important. Unfortunately, terrorism is part of our lives, and we should always remember that.
Recently, Russia has suffered numerous attacks perpetrated by Chechen separatists, and in many cases, the terrorists were women.
We don't want to go to war or to make these girls murderers. We are simply training them like soldiers. Okay, everyone, target practice.
So, Russia against France, yeah?
Okay, cadets, you are competing against France now, so make your Moscow school proud. Okay, clap, everyone. So, in this exercise, you have to kill a terrorist that is holding a hostage. The terrorist is the black target, the hostage, the green one. Make sure you don't shoot at the hostage now. It's very important.
Good score. So when you shoot at the terrorist like that, how do you feel?
It's strange, but I like it.
If one day you had to do it for real, would you think you'd be able to actually fire or what?
Well, if I am well trained by Alexei, I think I can.
What's the best part of this class? What do you like the most about it?
I like weapons training the most. When we shoot, too, I think that it could come in handy in the future in terms of my safety.
Self-defense, advanced first aid, and even explosive training are part of the weekly schedule. The girls do have some fun, but the lessons they learn are no laughing matter.
Солдат Джейн.
Soldat Jane. G.I. Jane, eh? G.I. Jane. This looks like a game here, but this is very serious.
You're right, it does feel like a game. But in the end, we are training them to survive in today's world. We don't tell them that nothing will ever happen to them. On the contrary, we tell them that they are trained to fight terrorism because they could bump into a terrorist anywhere, anytime.
Cadet School number 9 is not for everyone. There is a rigorous screening process, and once they are in, they must excel in all areas: math, science, languages, and even singing and dancing. The overall aim of the program is to cultivate the future leaders of the motherland. And to do this, the school enforces a strict set of rules: no makeup, no cell phones, and obedience at all times.
Hold your head up, not back.
This new schools and others like it reflect the resurgence of national pride and patriotism, characteristic of the Putin-era Russia.
Кругом и с первым шагом опускаем руку.
And so, do they train harder than the guys do?
Как ни странно, да.
Well, it may seem strange, but yes, they do. All my life, I worked with adult men, but these girls understand and learn much faster.
Учатся намного всему быстрее.
Left, left. Smile for the camera.
In Moscow today, the struggle to survive has given way to the need to succeed. But for some, the stresses of modern city life are overwhelming, and the focus on materialism unsatisfying. And so they search for solace in the depths of Siberia.
Well, I just want to take a few seconds to share with you what it is to travel throughout Siberia. I mean, it is endless roads. Thank God I have Sergey, because and his van, which is really like a first-class van. I've never had one like this.
Sergey, an expert on these never-ending roads, is taking me to a very special place. A place where he tells me I may even be able to meet a man believed to be the Son of God, the Jesus of Siberia. This is Sergey's village. At its heart is a very unique church, and almost everyone who lives here belongs to the fold. This chapel is part of the Church of the Last Testament, a Christian sect with a very unusual message.
So what's quite amazing here is that in most churches around the world you come to pray to Jesus Christ, who's been dead for 2,000 years. And the big difference here actually is that people come here and pray to a Christ that is alive. And so I think we're going to be meeting him soon, but I think it takes a couple days to actually get to him.
My driver Sergey has been a member of this church for 5 years now.
When you walk into this church here, what do you feel inside?
Well, here in this environment, you can feel that another world exists. A more complete, a happier world. When you come out of here, you look at people differently. You come out with a much more complete relationship with people and with nature. Your whole attitude has changed and you feel a brand new energy. It's a cleansing of the soul.
This is their Messiah. He is known as Vissarion.
Okay, so this church is part of the first village. Now, Vissarion, or the one who brings life, as they call Jesus here, lives on top of a mountain. So we're going to leave this village now to go to the second village, which is called the Abode of Dawn, before we actually meet Jesus.
As on most days, a group of religious pilgrims is waiting for a lift to meet the man up in the mountains.
Oh, Sergey, this is solid, huh? Siberian truck. Is this good?
Oh, you'll soon discover we can't reach the place we're going to any other way. We need this kind of truck. Right now the weather's fine, but when you've got snow up to here, then you need a powerful vehicle, one you can depend on. Yeah, this one's good.
This mud road connects Vissarion to the faithful. Some 5,000 people have left their homes and families to devote their lives solely to him. They live in about 40 different villages in the area, but we are now on the way to the most coveted address, a hamlet below Vissarion's own house.
So, Sergey, what do you have to do in order to live in the top village?
Oh, I'm nowhere near that stage yet. The people who live up there dedicate their whole lives to others. To you, to him, to anyone who needs it. If you have a profound desire, a real desire to dedicate your life to others, then you'll be happy up there.
Along the way, we pick up even more pilgrims. Some are veterans of the journey, and for others, it's their very first time. Today, the Church of the Last Testament counts more than 10,000 followers worldwide.
So actually, most people in this truck come from around Russia. They don't all live in the villages around their leader. And they've traveled thousands and thousands of miles to come and ask one question to Jesus and get the answer, hopefully.
Sergey's truck takes us as far as it can go. And so now, we have to hoof the last 7 kilometers.
So Sergey, what does it mean, your symbol, the symbol of your religion here?
You see, there are four main religions in the world: Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Our Jesus has come back to earth to bring these four religions into one family, one God, one people. That's what the symbol represents.
Welcome to the abode of Dawn. Home to about 250 of the most devoted. People here live life by Vissarion's strict set of rules. Everyone is a vegan, drinking and smoking are banned, and even the exchange of money is prohibited. Life here is self-sustaining and simple.
So after the fall of the Soviet Empire, basically hundreds of religious cults appeared in Russia. But this is one of the only ones that seems not only to have survived, but also has thrived over the years. And today, the Church of the Last Testament, as they call it, is one of the biggest ones in Russia.
The lifestyle here can be hard, but the followers believe that this hardship is the path to salvation. After 2 days on the road, I finally lay eyes on Jesus. Vissarion. Here, for the believers, his word is the word of God.
So this is what happens every Sunday. The faithful gather here and they ask their questions to their teacher, to Jesus, and he basically gives them the right answers on how to live and how to behave.
If a believer comes across an 11-year-old boy with a plastic machine gun, should he tell the boy this isn't the way for a believer to behave?
No, you shouldn't confront him directly. You shouldn't take the toy away either. It's natural for young boys to have toys like this. For the child to change, the world has to change first.
What you should know about him is that before, he used to be a traffic cop. He was actually a policeman here in Siberia, and after the fall, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, well, faith struck him, I guess, to become, his own spiritual leader.
Today, his leadership is so powerful that his followers have even replaced Christmas with a celebration marking his birthday. So, I'm about to go and meet Jesus, but just a little thing I wanted to let you know is that the Orthodox Church of Russia considers this church, the Church of the Last Testament, as a heresy, as a sect. But local authorities actually kind of like it, because in Siberia, where most villages are emptying themselves and where alcoholism and violence are destroying these towns, this is one of the only places where people are thriving. This is where I live. New house, I guess. You obviously have a very Christic physique. The hair, the beard, the way you dress. Is it a way to show people an image that they have already seen?
No, I don't mean to convey any message by the way I look. I simply remain what I have always been.
Would all this have been, would this dream, would have been possible during the Soviet era, or not?
No. People were ready to believe then, but the Soviet ideology wouldn't allow it. Now at last we are able to give the people what they've needed to be possible. We simply had to wait for a time when it was possible to preach. Now at last that time has come.
What is Vissarion today? Is Is it a new message for Russia, or is it something bigger than that?
On Earth, there is the flora, the fauna, and then mankind. We don't say flora, fauna, and then French or English, etc. We speak of mankind. It is one.
One human race.
The world needs to discover this truth and pass it on to all people who are ready to hear it. Thanks to what I preach, everyone can come together and understand that we're all part of a great oneness. I will show them how to achieve this. I will tell the truth. I will tell them what mankind truly is, why man was created, and what the meaning of creation is.
Спасибо большое. Thank you for taking the time and speaking to me.
Okay, so in my life I've flown in some old-ass planes, but I must say this one beats every record I have. I mean, I've never seen a flight stick like this. That's quite normal. It was built in the 50s. But I must say, what's Soviet built seems to be built to last. So I'm here with an elite unit, a unit that was created by the Soviets in the 1930s. And actually this unit is in charge of protecting Russia from one of its most dangerous threats, which are forest fires. So these guys are a little bit like the kamikazes of firefighters. But these guys will then jump at low altitude over forest fires in Siberia. I can tell you, it requires a lot of courage.
Russia actually had the first smoke jumping unit in the world, and today, with 4,000 men, it is still the biggest.
So how does it work? What is this for?
The helmets have a special shield to protect the eyes, and the suit is padded so branches don't wound them on the way down. As you can see, this material is very thick. You can see it's really heavy-duty stuff.
So how do you feel before every jump? Нет проблема? But the first time?
Oh, you always remember your first jump. It's different from all the rest.
First time.
Of course, you're nervous, but it's okay.
So, right now we must be about, I don't know, 800, 1,000 meters up in the air. But these guys jump at very low altitude to avoid being pushed away from the burning zone. Obviously, they have to land in very tight spaces in order not to be burned to death.
Despite intense training, this is dangerous. Over 40 smoke jumpers have died on the job.
So now we're getting ready to send off this equipment because these guys actually have to put fires out without water, which is quite a challenge.
Every year, these men must fight fires across 2 billion acres of forest. Today's blaze is not the real deal. They've lit this one as a training exercise.
So what is this technique? What do you use it for?
Well, first we have to dig a trench. We have to stop the fire from going any further. Then when we've got the fire line done, we walk along the trench and we keep an eye on the progression of the fire, which way it's going, how fast it's moving.
For these small teams of smoke jumpers, usually the first on the scene, this ditch, called the fire line, is the best chance at containing the flames.
Without our teams, small pockets of fire would quickly grow into massive fires. Small teams help prevent bigger fires.
But how are you paid? Are you paid by the day? How does that system work?
If we stop the fire on the first day, we get a bonus. If it lasts for several days, the bonus decreases.
But, I mean, this, for example, this looks like a squirt gun. I mean...
We use that to put out the first flames we find. It doesn't look like much, it's true, but it's very, very efficient.
So, I mean, when you jump, you don't... I thought you didn't have any water, but where do you get the water then when you get down here?
Well, we choose our landing point depending on where we can find a watering hole, or a stream, or some other source of water.
Hey, we can make a great barbecue here.
So after the fires, the tradition requires that everyone has a tea. Obviously, it's Russia and civilized, so we're all having our little teas now after the thing. So, were you ever, here it's just a training exercise, so it's okay. But were you ever caught in the flames in the forest?
Well, it can happen. I've been working here for 15 years, and it's happened to me 3 times. Surrounded by the fire. Stuck in a tiny safe zone. It's not pleasant. The main thing is not to panic. If you do, the fire will eat you alive, or you'll suffocate. You need to anticipate, plan ahead, you dig a ditch, lie down in it. That way you can breathe.
No, what I wanted to ask you is how long do you stay in the forest sometimes when there's fires burning and so on and so forth?
The longest was for a month because we had to wait for the helicopter. The fire was out, but we had to wait for it. It took forever.
You have to know like all the survival skills to be here in this Siberian forest?
Well, of course you need to know how to hunt and fish. That's what keeps you alive.
So we're almost at the end of our journey here in Russia, and I've decided to go all the way south to this region. Actually, I've gone so far south that there are no roads anymore and only trails, and we had to come here with horses. And Chadara was nice enough to accompany me, and she wants to take me to one of her friends' yurts here, which is a tent in this region, which is right by Mongolia.
Chadara is known in this region as one of the best throat singers, a very traditional form of singing in the steppes. But she's also on the forefront of a modern musical movement that she's hoping will make sound waves around the world.
Were the Soviets, did they try to kill your culture in a way, or what?
All minorities, not only the Tuvans, were submitted to Soviet propaganda. When we tried to do our traditional throat singing, we were punished and were obligated to play the Russian guitar. Can you imagine stepping onto a stage and doing throat singing while playing the balalaika at the same time? It was horrible.
After 3 hours of horseback riding, we finally arrive at her friend's yurt. And hospitality here in the steppes is taken very seriously.
Is it good?
Hey, you guys, we need the cheers.
Oh, yeah, okay, for the girls. Cheers for the girls, cheers for the girls. It's okay. Is it, I mean, throat singing before was reserved for men only, no?
Women were forbidden to throat sing because it was believed it would prevent us from having babies. Not just in Tuva, but also in Mongolia and the Altai, basically everywhere where throat singing existed. But the fact is that there were always women who throat sang in secret. It's a gift from the gods, in which nature gives you the energy to express your vision of the world. It's a beautiful thing, and I love it.
So obviously throat singing, yurts in the middle of Mongolian-looking steppes, I mean, that's, almost a cliche now. But the reason why I'm here is not for this, it's for what these people are doing to their traditional music. They're taking it to some surprising places. You're about to see. Welcome to Kizil, the capital of Tuva and supposedly the geographical center of Asia.
So it's Saturday night in Kizil, and Chadara has left her yurt to take me to this place. This is the biggest club in the city. It's called the Khan Club. And so this is where Chadara meets her friend's musician, and they're here to, well, boost the sound.
Chadura's friend, Odgun, is a master throat singer and is leading the charge for musical change.
Are you guys trying to, get your music out of the ghetto of ethnic music in a way?
I definitely think that you have to mix traditional music with your throat singing or folk instruments and mix it up with all different kinds of music. It's what today's global culture dictates.
Are you trying to change things with this traditional music, or what?
Why talk about changing traditional music? I disagree entirely. In my opinion, music has no boundaries. Only an idiot would think that you can limit music to one genre or one place. No one has the right to do that. And in the end, it's the public that decides what's good and what isn't. They're the final judge.
And it seems like Odgun is onto something.
Okay, see you next time, somewhere else on the planet. Cheers, woo!
That's my next tune.
Bye-bye.